A new poll finds that Californians support a federal healthcare overhaul, but many don't think it will affect them. The field poll published Monday found that 54% of registered voters support the Affordable Care Act and 37% oppose it. Support has grown since last year in a state which has a large Democratic electorate and where many people are uninsured. However, 46% said they didn't expect the law to significantly impact them or their families. 26% thought they will be better off, and 24% believe they will be worse off. 易冰河 Regina Liu, ICN, San Francisco. The Qixi Festival, or Chinese Valentine's Day, which falls on Thursday this year, is preferred by local couples as a day to tie the knot, with many marriage registration centers saying they're completely booked. Qixi Festival, which falls on the 7th day of the 7th lunar month, is considered an auspicious day for couples to register because of a beautiful love story from the old days. According to the tale, an honest and warm-hearted boy named Niu Lang falls in love with Zhinu, a fair from the heaven. The city started seeing a large number of couples who picked Qixi to tie the knot in 2008. 易冰河 Regina Liu, ICN, San Francisco. Phyllis Diller, the housewife turned humorist who aimed some of her sharpest barbs at herself, punctuating her jokes with her trademark cackle, died Monday morning in Los Angeles at age 95. Diller suffered a near-fatal heart attack in 1999. The cause of her death has not been released. Diller, who got her start in the entertainment business at Oakland radio station Crow, was a staple of nightclubs and television from the 1950s, when female comics were rare indeed until her retirement in 2002. 易冰河 Regina Liu, ICN, San Francisco.
According to a recent U.S. study, people who have better dental hygiene have a lower risk of developing dementia later in life. Researchers found by following nearly 5,500 elderly people over an 18-year period that those who reported brushing their teeth less than once a day were over 60% more likely to develop dementia than those who brush daily. Other studies have found that people with Alzheimer's disease have more gum disease bacteria than people without the form of dementia. It is thought that bacteria might get into the brain, causing inflammation and brain damage. 易冰河 John Berge, ICN, San Francisco.
Latino student populations have been on an upward trajectory in the United States for decades, and a report released Monday says the group's growth reached record levels last year, both in public schools and colleges. The number of 18 to 24-year-old Latinos in college topped 2 million in 2011, accounting for 16.5% of all enrollments, according to a report by the Pew Hispanic Center. The number means Latino representation in U.S. colleges and universities is on par with the percentage of Latinos among the U.S. population, also 16.5%. Record numbers of Latinos are also finishing college, with 112,000 earning associate degrees and 140,000 earning bachelor's degrees. Pew states both statistics are new highs, yet Latinos still lag behind whites and blacks in degree attainment. 易冰河 Regina Liu, ICN, San Francisco. 95% of the students in California's class of 2012 has passed the state's high school exit exam, according to education officials on Wednesday. This is an improvement from the results in 2006 when the requirement went into effect, and only about 90% of the class of 2006 passed. Students are given 8 attempts to pass the test between their sophomore and senior years, and most students pass the test in the 10th grade. Students with disabilities are allowed to graduate without passing the exam, but they still take it with the rest of the class. The Acklands and San Raymond Valley districts had the highest success rates this year, with more than 97% of sophomores passing both the math and English sections. 易冰河 Regina Liu, ICN, San Francisco.
Tropical storm Isaac has been moving along the southern coast of the United States toward Florida, where it could cause problems for the GOP convention there next week. It's still too early to tell the effects that the storm will have on the mainland, but several computer models say that it will move over to Florida. With roughly 50,000 people headed to Tampa for the Republican National Convention starting Monday, officials are keeping a close eye on Isaac. A hurricane watch is in effect for Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the Dominican Republic, which means hurricane conditions are possible within 48 hours. In case the storm does reach Florida, contingency plans have been made, and relief items are available. Yibing He, John Berge, ICN, San Francisco.
According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the Rent West Nile virus outbreak is the largest the U.S. has ever seen. As of August 21st, 38 states have reported human infections, making this year have the highest number of recorded cases since the first detection of the disease in 1999. About 75% of the cases are in Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana, South Dakota, and Oklahoma, with Texas being the worst off. The Texas Department of the State Health Services has confirmed 586 cases of the disease, with 21 deaths. Those older than 50 are most vulnerable to severe illness with West Nile and should take care to avoid mosquitoes. If you develop symptoms of severe West Nile virus illness, such as usually severe headaches or confusion, seek medical attention immediately. Yibing He, John Berge, ICN, San Francisco. An Oakland man was arrested, and police are looking for other suspects in a robbery over a dozen men at the Alameda Point Ferry Terminal over the weekend. 4 victims who were pistol whipped during the robbery were treated and released at a hospital for injuries. The suspects drew guns and ordered the victims to lie on the pavement. They robbed them of cash and cell phones. Several shots were fired, but no one was hit by gunfire. Descriptions of the vehicles used by the suspects were given, and one of the cars was found nearby with 2 flat tires. Detained near the vehicle was a man identified by police as Stephen Palm, 19 of Oakland, and a pistol was also recovered. The investigation is continuing. Yibing He, John Berge, ICN, San Francisco. With 3D movies still topping the box office, scientists are looking for ways to make the technology better for the viewers. Researchers in South Korea have created a new type of projector that may make things a little easier by getting rid of the 3D glasses. To make movies look 3D, theaters use 2 projectors showing the film at slightly different perspectives. The glasses that you wear will filter out one side or the other with each lens. The scientists in South Korea have been working on a projector that will do the filtering for you. As for now, the technology only works in low resolution, but if the film companies get behind it, you could see it coming to theaters near you. Yibing He, John Berge, ICN, San Francisco.
A study published Wednesday in the scientific journal Nature found that the number of mutations of DNA increased with age, making autism and schizophrenia more likely to be passed on to children. A 40-year-old man was found to pass down 65 mutations to his offspring, compared to the 25 mutations transmitted by a 25-year-old man. Age is a factor in these mutations, but so are other factors such as diet, stress, and smoking. Other factors that contribute to autism can happen in the womb, so it is important that women who are pregnant are also careful. Experts say that it may not be a bad idea for younger men to consider collecting their sperm and cold storing it for later use. Yibing He, John Berge, ICN, San Francisco.
2 typhoons are heading towards China in the next 10 days, according to the China Meteorological Administration. These will follow the 4 storms that have been hitting the country since the start of the month. One of the storms, known as Bolivan, is expected to be the strongest typhoon to hit China this year, with maximum winds of 130 miles per hour. Potential affected areas are being asked to set up warning signs in high-risk areas and to open emergency shelters. If the country is hit by the storms, it will break the record for the number of typhoons in China in 1 month.
Mark David Chapman, the man who shot and killed musician John Lennon, was denied release from prison by a parole board for the 7th time, according to New York correction officials on Thursday. In 1981, he was sentenced to 20 years to life in prison after pleading guilty to the murder. Chapman was transferred in May to the Wend Correctional Facility, a maximum security prison in New York. He has been quoted as saying that his reasoning for the murder was to gain instant notoriety. A transcript of his parole hearing will be released in a few days, and Chapman can try to be released again in August of 2014. Yibing He, John Berge, ICN, San Francisco.
Nearly 200 people in the 21 states have been sickened by salmonella-contaminated cantaloupe, according to a warning today by health officials. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention identified Chamberlain Farms in Austinville, Indiana, as the source of the outbreak. The farm has stopped producing and distributing cantaloupe, following an alert by the FDA. Before stopping production, the fruit was sold to grocery stores in Indiana and to wholesale purchasers in the surrounding states. Salmonella is one of the most common causes of food poisoning in the U.S., and although most people recover without treatment, it can cause serious illness in older people, infants, and those with chronic diseases.
New unemployment claims have been coming in at much greater numbers in the past week, raising concerns about the job market and putting pressure on the U.S. Federal Reserve to provide support for the economy. Word from meetings at the Federal Reserve show that the central bank is likely to deliver another round of monetary stimulus soon, unless the economy improves considerably. The U.S. economy faces a number of threats, including the looming possibility the government will raise taxes and cut spending. According to weekly reports, a total of 5.59 million Americans have been receiving unemployment benefits under all programs. Ibing He, John Berge, ICN, San Francisco. A shooting occurred this morning outside the Empire State Building that left 2 dead and 9 injured. The suspected gunman, Jeffrey Johnson, approached a former coworker and shot him 3 times. The police were called and Johnson was killed in the following gunfight. Some of the injured may have been hit by police bullets, according to NYPD Commissioner Raymond Kelly. Johnson was seen running through the streets, shooting into the crowd. Both Johnson and his coworker had a history of police reports against each other. Johnson's body remained on the street until around noon, when it was taken to the city medical examiner's office. Ibing He, John Berge, ICN, San Francisco.
Lo Xiaoying has been hailed a hero in China for reportedly saving more than 30 abandoned babies from trash cans and dumps over the past 4 decades. At the age of 88, Lo is suffering from kidney disease and is currently in the hospital. Lo was born in 1924 and collected recycling to make a living. She had 2 biological children and adopted 3 daughters, while making sure that the other children who were abandoned found suitable homes. When one of her adopted daughters was asked if she ever looked for her biological parents, she responded no, saying that Lo had always been her mother. Ibing He, Angelina Wang, ICN, San Francisco.
California Proposition 37, up for vote on the November ballot, will require labels to be put on genetically engineered foods. This would affect a large range of commonly found food items at grocery stores, including breakfast cereals and sodas. The proposition is backed by businesses that make organic foods and products. Opponents of the proposition have raised more than 9 times the campaign funding and include Coca-Cola, General Mills, and PepsiCo. The Federal Food and Drug Administration say that genetically engineered food doesn't present greater safety concerns than food that isn't, but many other nations already label food that has been genetically engineered. Ibing He, John Berge, ICN, San Francisco.
Study shows that Asians in the United States are being affected by a disease that shows conditions similar to HIV and AIDS. This disease causes immunity deficiency and leaves the victim unable to fight off the flu, cold viruses, and other similar common infections. People who are suffering from this disease are often unaware and have been falsely diagnosed with tuberculosis. According to Dr. Sarah Brown, a scientist from the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. This disease first appeared in 2004 and was mistaken for HIV. However, differences are being identified as further studies are being conducted. Fortunately, this disease is not contagious, and unlike AIDS, there is no genetic connection. Ibing He, Angelina Wang, ICN, San Francisco.
Cycling legend Lance Armstrong is facing the loss of his 7 Tour de France titles after falling to charges of illegal doping. The U.S. Anti-Doping Agency gave him a lifetime ban today and plans to strip him of his wins since 1998. Armstrong continues to deny allegations of doping and says that the International Cycling Union, not the USADA, should be in charge of whether or not he gets to keep his titles. Armstrong brought cycling into popularity in the U.S., and with the Lance Armstrong Foundation raised millions to help cancer victims and survivors. He has decided to no longer address the issue of doping and to devote his time to his family and to fighting cancer. Ibing He, John Berge, ICN, San Francisco.